So everybody's talking about Bruno. Welcome to Conversation with Bruno. It is me, Brian Mofokeng, alongside Sizwe Mabena, Mr. Click,
bang.
Bang, bang, bang. Shane, Maketan, or Pindamzala.
Maketan
is sort of better. Yeah, I want to talk about traditions. You know, I was sitting at a stadium, and every time we go and cover matches, there's something that I pick up. Certain things that players do, all right? You were a man with wearing chains going onto the pitch. What are some of the funniest stuff you actually saw that trades that you saw footballers do? I know nowadays they always have headphones on.
Oh, that's past
bouncing
now.
to some. Oh, they've gone past that now.
I think they've gone beyond the.
There are those who come with some headgear and all of those things. What was the favorite ones that you actually experienced when you were still playing?
Yeah, in our days, guys didn't have the earphones or anything like that. It was
walkie-talkies.
Yeah, exactly. The old days,
Come down.
Old days. There weren't really many things that guys did. I mean, I had the chain. Certain players had certain things, but not much. I mean, no earphones, no earpods, no nothing like that. So it was just a matter of checking the field up, back straight in the change rooms.
Were there any special, sorry to interrupt, but were there any special rituals you guys or anyone did before a match? I know some players like to walk on left foot first or...
I had my own ways, my superstitions. There's always left foot. A lot of players, a lot of players had different things. For myself, I mean, I used to cause the Chiefs guys the headaches, major headaches, because I always put my shirt on when I was walking out the change room. I never put it on in the change room. So whenever I was walking out the change room, I put the shirt on. So obviously, because of certain things, the security had to put a barricade in front so that the opposition don't see you. But I mean, it's just little things. Like I used to tip my left boot first, right boot.
Yeah.
Left sock, right sock. So little things.
There's somebody who told me something, and I think we'll get to the game shortly that we want to talk about today. Somebody was telling me something about soccer boots and kids doing certain stuff. What is the story about that? Soccer boots and yeah. What's the story about that?
You're talking about when I wasn't scoring goals. I gone 3 or 4 games that I hadn't scored a goal. I was at Chiefs, and obviously they're getting worried that I used to score every game, every second game at least. And I got to a stage where things weren't happening. And I went to go see a certain doctor.
Okay.
Dr. Kumalo, not Dr. Kumalo.
No,
just
Dr. Kumalo,
just making sure.
But the best part about everything is going home to the family and telling my second born that he must pee on my soccer boots.
Really?
He thought I was mad. Number one, my wife thought I was mad. I think maybe that's why she divorced me.
Now that you think about it.
And then what happened after that?
I scored 3 goals the next game.
Really?
That weekend I scored 3 goals. You got into pee on my boots. I wasn't allowed to dry them. I wasn't allowed to polish them. I always had my boots polished before games. I did it myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to do that. I had to let it dry and go and play. And I got 3 goals. But you look at it, was it the doctor that was clever, or was it that it was due?
I think the doctor.
Maybe it's also.
One question. Did you ever try it again after that?
No. Definitely not.
So he scored 3 goals after that?
I scored 3 goals the next game, yeah.
So did you continue scoring after that?
I'll continue the run.
So you never ever washed the boots after that?
No, I did. Make sure I didn't wash them, I polished them. That's one thing you'll always have found with me is my boots are always polished properly, not like certain players that just left it. My boots were, and we did it ourselves. So,
Back in the day.
Let's go with you, Sizwe. I mean, as a commentator.
Yeah.
What are some of the stuff that you do before a match? So some of the things that you think about. I know you'd have done the prep, you'd have done everything else, and now you're sitting there. They're gonna say, "We're going in 15 minutes." What do you do?
No. For me, it starts.
He takes a donut.
For me, in fact, it starts at lunch. Because we always have the 3 o'clock kickoff, lunch, 12, right?
Yeah.
From after lunch, let's say
lunch is always nice.
12:30. Yeah, lunch is always good. You can't miss lunch. But after we all have the team lunch, at 12, at about 12:30, 1:45, I need that time between then and when kickoff happens to be alone in the commentary booth.
What do you do there?
Just sit, get into the game, look at the team list and think, what am I going to say about Shane? And that's when you align. You do all your prep, but for me also, a lot of the prep happens when you see the team lists. And it's also like a ritual to get into game mode. for me. Just sit alone in the commentary booth. I don't mind if someone comes in, but I need that 2 hours.
No donut.
Yeah, no, that's after lunch already. So I need that 2 hours of just me time and getting into the zone, watching the players walk around, looking at the stadium, the atmosphere, and just, getting into the zone.
Next week we'll talk about something else, another something that I picked up.
Yeah.
So just keep on just getting to understand these things better. Now this is a time where you sit down and say, 14 points between Sundowns and Pirates at the top when you get to the business of football. We also have 3 games in hand for Pirates. Yeah, people are saying 3 games in hand doesn't actually have the points to go with it. So it's always a very tricky one. We have a big game this weekend. Sundowns are hosting Kaizer Chiefs. So the game can't be played at Loftus Festival because there's a rugby game happening there. So the game is now be shifted to Pelinda in Atteridgeville at Lucas Moripe Stadium. First of all, I'm worried about that small venue with this massive crowd that's going to come in. Also the B side of the stadium, I was there, covered the Penny game. And people have to be removed from the B side because the security is in. There's also issue about that stage might just collapse. You know, that particular side of the stadium might collapse. When you look at the 2 teams, Sundowns are just hitting people 4 continuously. I mean, look at the goal difference, plus 40. You know, just that's massive points on their own on that side. Shane, when you look at Kaizer Chiefs in particular, let's talk about the starting 11, about both teams. I want us to break those down. Who do you go with if you are Nabi in this game?
Pray and pray and pray. That's where I'll go, to be very honest.
After the prayer session, who do you select?
You know what? You look at the team he's got, you know, unfortunately he's lacking in certain departments.
Yeah.
And we saw, if you go back to the Supersport game, they got hurt down the sides, down the channels, down wide. Sundowns must have seen that, and that's what they're going to use that to their advantage and break them down on that. So for me, he's got to look at that and say, well, let's sew that up. That's going to be the biggest thing, because if you don't stop the white players getting in, you're going to be in big trouble. So for him, he's got to look at that. Who's he going to bring in? That's the thing, you know. It's a difficult one. Bradley Cross has been disappointing. Very
low in
disappointing.
confidence.
But he's cost them 2 goals in exactly the same thing, where he's been caught ball watching. You know, that's the first thing you learn about in football, not to ball watch. He's been caught in 2 games in a row, ball watching. Player got behind him, boom, goal. So for Chiefs, they've got to work on their back, and they've had a couple of days off, so hopefully they've worked on that. You got to put someone strong at right back, and you got to get someone, even if you got a right-footed player, play on the left back. You know, you got to stop that.
You know, the interesting thing with your question is you say, who do you start with if you're Nabi? That's the question you asked Shane. And the one complaint Kaizer Chiefs fans have had in recent weeks, why change things where they seem to be going right? So the issue is they're not winning consecutive games, and their argument, the fans, is we win a game and we want to win consecutive games. So after we win a game, then you change 4 5 left. So hence no consistency. So who do you start with is a very good question. The left back position is one of serious concern.
Let's talk about Ditlhokwe. Mashiane is out you know, because he's injured. So they're saying now Dove might be coming back because he's slowly getting in there. He doesn't have game time, even if he's fit or not. But I know that he's not ready yet to play. Was it right for them to sell Ditlhokwe? Because Ditlhokwe was slotting into position well. Even though he's a central defender, he was playing left back. There'll be issues. I can see you smiling. I mean, there's money that came in with a deal.
It's a lot of money.
There's good money that came in with a deal. So
a lot of money.
What do? You got the player free from Supersport, comes in, plays for you, not been playing much, eventually does slots and plays in left back position, makes it look solid, makes it look like it is position. I mean, against in the derby, he was something else. He actually had Mufuke in his pocket, he had Mohankot in his pocket, eventually to change things. Was it the right time to understand the money aspect? Would you have sold that player if it was you coaching, Shane?
If it was me coaching, he was doing a job for me, no as. As a coach, I would have said no as. This is the question, did the coach have a say in it?
Exactly.
This is my big question. We don't know. We don't know whose decision was. Look, they made a lot of money out of him. Made huge money. But I mean, is the money worth it when you're going to be struggling through the rest of the season?
And as soon as he leaves, that's the
position. That's the point I'm trying to say.
I fear if the coach didn't make the decision, maybe a coach can look at that situation and say, phew, finally, someone to cover the left back position. But now, with Ditlhokwe, it's not like he was playing for a month or 2 months. There's just been a few games where he's looking like he's the man to fill the left back position. But from a management point of view, they may not read it the same way. They'll probably look at the stat sheet and say, oh, he's only played 3-4 games. Yeah, let's sell him. And he came for free. We're making money here.
Yeah.
If he came from a free. So there's the business side of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was it a business decision or was it a football decision?
Exactly.
There's a big difference between the two.
Yeah.
Business decision, make the money, I understand because they spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
So to get something back, it's always, maybe it's good. But at what cost? That's
Okay,
that's
so you guys want to talk about the defense. Let's go to the middle now. Who do you put in the middle against Sundowns?
There's no question in the middle for me.
Okay.
Totally Miguel. That's your central defensive pairing. It's been your central defensive pairing throughout the season.
All right.
Miguel's had the armband.
Yeah.
Totally for me, even though he plays for the national team, it's his breakout season, really. Yes, he arrived from Cape Town Spurs, but this is his breakout season. So where else are you going to go? You can't change that pairing now at this stage of the season against the Sundowns. I don't know how you feel about it.
I agree with you, but you've got to go back again and say, look at their game against Supersport. They struggled. They struggled. So what do? Do you keep the same and say, well, let's go with what we got, or do we try and change it? Big question. Only the coach will know that. But for me, Miguel started off very well, and he seems to have just waned down a bit. I'm not too sure what it is.
Your thoughts on this as a coach? I spoke to somebody who made the point that if the goalkeeper is questionable, and your two central defenders, that pairing is questionable, that triangle is probably the foundation of any team.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper and the two central defenders. Yeah. Now, at Chiefs, if that triangle is what we're questioning, isn't it a huge problem?
Major problem. As a coach, I always had a spine. You have a goalkeeper, your centre back, your centre midfielder and your striker. That's your spine, and you work around that. You build your team around that. If you don't have a decent goalkeeper, you've got a keeper that's under pressure, you're in trouble straight away. Same thing at centre back, especially there. Defensively, it's a major problem.
So we talked about the sides and the back.
I'm saying. Well, we're just picking up all the problems that they have got.
Right, let's look in the middle. You got Thabo, a new player into Chiefs. You got in that same position. You also have a Yusuf Ma that can slot in. You also have a Mtatwa. You have all those options. You got a Blom option. All of those. How do you therefore nullify this potent Sundowns midfield that can literally destroy anybody?
I don't know if nullify is the word.
Okay. How do you try and contain them? Let's say contain them.
The thing is, in your opinion, and I'm asking both of you guys now, who are the two strongest central midfielders? Have we decided this yet? Do we know at Chiefs?
Listen, Tyler is still getting there.
Yeah.
We're the second half of the season. We still don't know who the two strongest the pairing is.
That's a problem.
It is a problem. It's a major problem, and that's a big problem at Chiefs at the moment. They don't know their starting lineup. They don't know their best team yet, and that's a big problem. I mean, you look at that's vital in any position as a centre midfielder. Yeah. Look at Man City. They lost Rodri. Look what happened to them. They've fallen by the wayside. That's the same thing at Chiefs. You lose that player, or you don't have that player doing their job for you. A big problem. Mateta, I mean, he came with big name behind him, and he was doing so well at Stellenbosch. I was the first one to say, be careful, because he's not the player. He's not a Chiefs player.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Okay.
So Mart for me has been an unlucky player there. I thought Mart has been doing very well when he's played.
Yeah.
And they just seem to drop him all the time. So I'm not too sure.
We don't want to talk about Sundowns because you already know the starting 11, know that they can literally put in any 11 at any given time. That 11 going to make everybody run. You're going to be one of those. Ribeiro has been outstanding. You can't really run away from that. But also is the fact that your Arthur Salles are now chipping with the goals, now getting slowly into the whole fray. Shalule is back banging goals again for Mamelodi Sundowns. In fact, he has an unbelievable record against the Chiefs anyway, Peter Shalulile. At this stage, do we say the league is gone, or do we still say Chiefs can hold? If Chiefs hold Sundowns, miracle, then it might be one of those.
Keep in mind, when we say they've got 3 games in hand, this being Pirates.
Yeah.
The gap
is 14 points.
14. So with those 3 games, it's 9 points.
Yeah.
So even if they were somehow enough to drop those 3 games,
they still have to play Sundowns again.
Yeah, and they still have to play, but still, the gap is still going to be there, even if they close that 9 points. And get it in Sundowns somehow drop 3 games. There'll still be a gap.
Yeah.
For me, it's beginning to tilt on the side of Sundowns, because where do you see them firstly losing 3 games between now and the end of the season?
I can't see it.
Exactly.
I can't see it. They might drop 1 game, but to lose 3 games is very difficult.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I actually thought against Sekhukhune, I thought they'll have, that's going to be their biggest test.
Yeah.
Because Sekhukhune have been playing very well, and they fight, they have a go.
And they had a go.
And they had a go. It just showed you, they conceded 2 goals, Sundowns, which they haven't been conceding. No Rowan Williams, which was a bit of a worry. But that test was brilliant. And I mean, they did so well in that game. So.
Also, you mentioned Sundays at the start of this.
Yeah.
You see, the beauty of it at Sundowns is the man from Stellies arrived scoring goals.
And he's assisting also.
He arrived scoring goals. Then Shaluli started finding the back of the net as well.
Adams is also chipping in.
That brought Saleh's time without there being any pressure.
Yeah.
Because now everyone is scoring goals, and whilst he's finding his feet, because he's looking at a quality player to me, but whilst he's finding his feet, everyone else is scoring. There's no pressure on him. How much he costs, no pressure on him whatsoever. Right. And now that he's finding his feet, you've got a serious problem at Sundowns.
Right, that's all you have time for today, gentlemen. I know that Sizwe just want to go on, and there's such a player.
I was about to start commentating.
Shane, thank you very much for that one.
Result.
Yeah.
Heavy.
You want to have another 4?
At least 3.
I'm going to go 4-1 Sundowns.
4-1 Sundowns.
Yeah.
So you're going to say Chiefs is going to Pretoria for one reason?
To get 1 goal.
Big factor, where the game is being played, the number of fans.
Yeah.
I think that works against Chiefs. Chiefs need a bigger stadium, more fans, that'll inspire their players. You
know what, one thing for sure Chiefs fans will be hoping for is that the fact that they don't have their number 1 goalkeeper in goals, maybe they just be an advantage to them. The Buccaneers will be praying that they are, so we're 2 neighbours do him a huge favour and stop Sundowns' train. Sundowns the first team to reach the 50 mark already so far this campaign. Question is, who's going to stop them? Guess we'll find out.
I saw a cherry and it was